Hello, Ducks fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Quack Report. My name's Carter. I'm joined by Nate. We don't have any Ducks games to talk about, so this is going to be the
And we're done. Okay, see you
Quack
later.
Report. I don't know. What do we call it now since there's no Ducks stuff?
Quack Report. We're not in it playoff edition.
Perfect.
Which has been the last 2 years of this show as well. It's been the entirety of this show.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be fun when we actually get to make the playoffs.
Oh God, it's gonna be insane. I'm gonna have so much fun.
We're gonna be absolutely hammered on the show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I might as well just stay hammered for like the whole 2 weeks, 2 months, however long the Ducks are in the playoffs.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And then just have the worst hangover ever at the end of the 2 months. But at least it won't be like daily hangovers, you know?
True. Can't be hungover if you're still going.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a horrible mentality. Please don't anybody take that seriously. Please do not do that. We're totally joking.
Yeah. Just as I was waiting for things to get started, I watched the video you sent me, the Spider-Man Not My Problem, where he just watches the kids get run over by the truck. And is that in the first one or the second one?
It's from the second movie.
Okay.
So the kids in the street is from the second movie, because remember, he tosses the pizzas and he like dives, saves the kids, and then like some guy had found the pizzas on the edge of his building, and so he like steals one, and that's when he's late, he gets fired. And actually, I guess speaking of, and then and the hot dog part is later when he doesn't have his powers and he sees the cops go by and he's like, oh yeah, I don't got to do anything, I'm just gonna eat the hot dog, which, fun fact, was a vegan hot dog because Tobey Maguire is vegan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, I can tell you this stuff, but again, I've said it a few times, I can tell you this kind of useless knowledge, but school and like actual important stuff.
Yeah.
My brain just like compartmentalizes that kind of stuff, and it's just like, yeah, but like the school and like the important stuff, it doesn't matter. That's not going to be interesting at dinner parties, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. But memorizing lyrics from emo bands in the mid 2000s is interesting dinner conversation. So.
100%. So, and also with the Spider-Man stuff as well, yesterday was the 20th anniversary of the original Spider-Man movie.
Oh, wow.
And today, I believe, is the 15th anniversary of Spider-Man 3, I think I saw. And it's also cool. It's May the 4th, so it's Star Wars Day. So happy Star Wars Day, everybody.
Yeah. Do we have a
May the 4th be with you.
We have a Star Wars. That's a Star Wars keyboard noise.
Yeah, Wilhelm scream. Yeah.
I thought I had another one. Oh no, I don't.
We got Allie saying quack quack, checking in from guess where. I know Allie because I saw it already on Twitter. Actually, Allie is at game 1 of the Gauls and the Ontario Reign.
Nice.
So Allie's gonna have to keep us updated. I guess Allie can run the Gulls update for this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I went to like fill in the stuff, right? And I was like, oh yeah, playoffs should be starting now and that kind of thing. And it's like, oh yeah, game 1 starts like puck drop was right when we started. Like we're maybe 5 minutes into the game at this point. So
nice.
Yeah. So Allie, you got to keep us updated in the chat. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will promise to keep us updated to the second for the Kings and Oilers game. Even though this isn't a watch along, I will. I'll keep the scores updated.
We don't care about that.
Yeah, Ducks fans care if the
it's
the
Edmonton
and
the other California team. We don't care about that. I'm not all the way through it yet. Speaking of playoffs and California hockey and that sort of thing, but I did come across, it was a kind of like a documentary about the 2007 run for the Stanley Cup. And I'm about halfway through it, just getting to the finals right now. I was just watching it when I was at the gym today, on the treadmill or that. And it's been really interesting so far. It's fun looking back at that kind of stuff. I love the behind the scenes kind of things. Mm-hmm. And so they have interviews with Brian Burke, Randy Carlyle, Eric Stevens, who now works for The Athletic, and like a bunch of the players. Obviously, Getz and Perry were fresh in the league still, bringing in the Niedermeyers and everything like that. So it's been a fun watch so far. I'm almost done it. Like I said, I got about a half an hour left. It's only about an hour and 10 documentary. I don't remember if I sent it to you, Carter, but
no, you didn't. But
okay, I'll send it your way. So, but yeah, if you got like an hour and 15, you can find it pretty easily on YouTube. So yeah, definitely go check that out though if you want to walk down memory lane. So
cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome to watch.
Yeah. So what's been going on? I guess the last couple of days.
Well, I'm officially done my semester. Well, and my
Ooh,
university career. Yeah.
atta boy.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Had my midterm Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday morning, I guess. So that was a late night with the watch along, but and then somewhat relatively early morning for my final. But
Mhm.
I did it. I passed, so
There you
all
go.
good.
That's
all
what
that
matters,
Yeah.
right? So you get C's to get degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that was
D's
one.
do also. I think.
Maybe.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. It depends. Because like with the programs, I guess that we're in, like you need C's for kind of the core classes, and then
Yeah, like C minuses
and then
or
everything
whatever.
else
Yeah.
you just have to pass. So
Yeah.
yeah. So C's get degrees, and a few D's also get degrees.
Yeah.
But
Depends
yeah.
on what you're doing. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this was one of those classes that's just like it's not like I don't give a shit about it at all. It's just like one of those upper
You just
level
have to get it
classes that
out
you
of.
have to
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
So and oh my god, the professor was awful, like
Oh no.
so bad for it.
Oh
Like
no.
I went to class like for the first like little bit of the semester before exam one, and like I could not pay attention. I tried my absolute hardest to listen and take notes, and I would just like be off somewhere else, and then like it was brutal. It was the driest shit I've ever heard. Like,
And you're really good at the school stuff, I know. So like hearing this actually kind of surprises me coming from you.
yeah, I know.
Like,
Like
it
there's
had to have been dry for you to be like, I'm not here.
Yeah,
Like I'm not
exactly.
here.
It was awful. So I was like, and then I did like really well on the first test because like I didn't pay attention. Then I was like, oh shit, like I just got to like go through some of these practice problems, and I was like kind of teaching myself how to do it because I had to go back through the slides and be like, okay, like how do I actually do this? Because I
Yeah.
got nothing from the professor, and I got like a 90 something on that first test. So I was like, fuck, I don't need the teacher. So I didn't go to class, and I still got 90s, just fucking doing the practice problems.
Oh,
So like I
attaboy.
said, absolute waste of a class. Useless.
I had something similar with another class of mine. It wasn't that the content was dry or anything like that. I did actually enjoy the content. But after the whole like lockout that we had, right? When we
Mhm.
came back, the prof he had already kind of told us before. He's like, I don't really believe in tests or that kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
he's like, it's just you memorizing for the sake of memorizing. He's like, I'd rather you try to actually take something from this class if you are, besides just that it's a requirement for the degree.
Mhm.
And he's like, and if there's something that interests you, you know, like we can go farther into that, like in other classes, like in like just outside of that class. And so he made his quizzes and that like really easy to do. And so when we came back, he was just like, okay, we can like you can continue. Like he kind of emailed to everybody of like you can continue to come to class if you want, or if you want to just do it at your own pace, that's fine as well. Just let me know.
Mhm.
And so I just, because I kind of knew the system for his quizzes and whatnot, I just wrote every quiz. I think it was like 8 quizzes I still had to write for the semester.
Oh
I
yeah.
wrote them all in one day. It was like 180 questions or something like that. And just kind of, yeah, got it out of the way without overly looking at the slides too much, but was still like reading through the slides at least once kind of thing before I
Mhm.
wrote everything and whatnot. And
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there was a lot of interesting stuff there and that sort of thing. But yeah, just kind of one of those classes where you're just like, I don't really need anything else. Like I didn't really need the class time. It just kind of expanded on what was there. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
so a little bit different from what you had, but
Yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of idea of like,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
more just like
I
you
don't
don't need
class.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is kind of different. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like still same sort of sentiment where you're just like, if I don't have to go, I'm not
I'm not going. Yeah.
So
It saved my Tuesday nights because it was a night class. So
oh
like,
yeah.
and once a week. So it's like 3 hours, right? So like
Yeah.
6 to 9.
Yeah.
So
And that's like prime hockey time. Tuesday night is like the busy night for
exactly.
hockey. Games
Yeah.
start like 5 or 7 usually where we are. So that's
Exactly.
it's an important time.
As we have games going on right now and we're doing this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
I'm trying to follow along with what's going on here. So if there's I guess anybody watching who's who's curious. 3 minutes left in the third period. Hurricanes are up 4-1 on the Bruins.
Okay.
At the third period is just about to start for the Lightning and Maple Leafs. The Lightning are up 3-1. And
3-1. Are you
Corey,
sure?
yep, and Corey Perry has the second goal for Tampa Bay. For all the Duck fans out there.
You might want to refresh your app because I have a notification from 2 minutes ago that the Lightning are up 5-3.
Oh,
right
Jesus
now.
Christ. Okay, let's
and
update this then.
and that the Hurricanes game ended 5-2.
Yes, you are correct. Holy
Okay.
crap. Okay, yeah, that's weird. Wait, please tell me Matthews has goals?
That I don't know. I haven't
Marner,
been following that one.
Kerfoot, damn it. I gotta bet on Matthews scoring 2 tonight.
Oh yeah.
Which will give me a nice payday, but I don't think it's gonna be happening. Yeah, there's 2 minutes
Yeah,
left in the
probably not.
third period. So I mean,
Yeah.
unless Austin,
you never
unless
know. You never
Austin, if you want to go tie the game, that'd be great, bud.
know.
You'd make a lot of Maple Leafs and myself happy.
Yeah. Do you have the score in the Minnesota St. Louis game?
Minnesota is up 2-0 right now with 6 minutes left in the first period.
Cool. Oh yes, I just got the 2-0 notification. So cool.
So, and obviously we'll get into all of the game ones later on in the episode here. So
yeah, that's so really just to kind of wrap it up, with the exception of the Bruins, it looks like, at least as of right now, and I know the Wild game is early, but it looks like kind of a bounce back night for 2 out of the 3 teams that have started so far.
yeah, exactly.
So that'll be cool.
Series tied 1-1 for, yeah, it'll look that way at least. So, and obviously the Oilers and Kings haven't started just yet.
No, they are doing the anthem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw that Lauren joined the chat a few minutes ago. Welcome, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
Good to see you again. Yeah, that's I guess, should we get into a little bit of Ducks news? The Ducks were kind of busy actually the first half of this week. So
yeah, kind of surprising. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's start, I think, with kind of the big one in the front office. Ducks hiring, hope I'm saying this right, Rob DeMayo?
I think so. DeMayo. I think so.
I'm gonna go with DeMayo. Even though it's not like Mayo, I'm gonna go with DeMayo. Because I'm a little bit snacky. So Rob DeMayo for the assistant GM job. And he'll also serve as the head GM or lead GM, main GM, not assistant GM for the San Diego Gulls as well. So yeah, I don't know a ton about Rob, besides just kind of what I've read from the Athletic article that it looks like you have also read.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, looks like a good hire. Looks like people are excited about this hire. So I know you've got a little bit more info on him. So do you want to take it away here, Nate?
Yeah, so he's definitely got a background with players, obviously, throughout the NHL. He's had a lot of scouting roles throughout his career, and he spent the last 13 years of his 14 years in an executive position as the director of player personnel with the St. Louis Blues. And of course was part of their cup winning team in 2019 there. So, and yeah, so with that, along with all of his scouting, right. Yeah. He knows about a lot of the players throughout the league and that sort of thing. So he's going to, I think, be a major asset as an assistant GM there to Pat Verbeek, especially going into this year with free agency and everything like that. Right. And potential trades in the future and whatnot. Yeah. This pairing for sure of DeMayo and Verbeek, it really entices me actually. So I'm quite excited for it.
Sure.
Before he was an AGM, or before he, did all his executive stuff, DeMayo did play in the NHL as well. He was drafted in 1984 by the Islanders, playing almost 900 games in his career. So
that's good.
Yeah, he's definitely, he definitely knows the industry. That's for sure. So, and has watched its evolution and everything like that. So,
The exciting thing to me about this is that from the Athletic article, and I didn't actually realize this, but Bob Murray, when he was GM of the Ducks, was also the GM for the Gulls. So he was doing both roles there, which I don't think is totally uncommon in the NHL.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I don't think uncommon.
But it says that DeMayo is going to be the GM of the Gulls, freeing up Verbeek a little bit, I think, to focus more on the main club. But still, obviously, with DeMayo working as assistant GM, there will be a lot of communication between the two. So it's kind of like Verbeek. Verbeek will definitely have an influence on how the Gulls team looks, but he doesn't have to kind of deal with the day-to-day general manager operations of the Gulls. So that personally is very exciting to me, that we'll have a functional GM in both of these clubs, but they're separate people. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think it works out. It'll work out well as well, being the AGM of the Ducks and the GM of the Gulls. That he'll have a better idea of maybe what guys are ready to take the next step, right?
Hmm.
Because
For
he'll
sure.
kind of be that bridge between the two instead of going between two GMs that are like completely separate entities almost.
Yeah.
It's okay, this is my coworker, this is my partner in crime for this team, but he also runs this,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
um
Yeah. I think this is a great setup,
yeah, it'll
honestly.
be good. So Pat Verbeek did say as well, just he talked about hiring Rob DeMeo as well. Uh, quote, Rob brings a wealth of experience and expertise to our front office. He's helped build a Stanley Cup winning club, and he will play an integral role for us in all areas of hockey operations moving forward. That's of course coming from the Athletic article by the Athletic staff that was posted yesterday, May 3rd.
Nice. The there's one thing you mentioned there that is one of two things that am really excited for with bringing Rob DeMeo in. One was the winning culture that he's established with his time in St. Louis. He knows what a winning team looks like. He has a role in building a winning team. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, and I think will be great for the Ducks long term. The second thing is that he's just a fresh pair of eyes on all
Mhm.
of these guys. Because I mean, we've had Dallas Eakins for he's going to be going into his fourth year with the club. Before that, Bob Murray had been around for however many years. Like his kind of executive group had been there for a while. But
Yeah.
it's not just Verbeek coming in and replacing Bob Murray. Verbeek is slowly kind of turning over the whole executive group. So
Mhm.
it's an entirely fresh perspective. And like I think there's still a few guys that are sticking around, mainly Dallas Eakins and the assistant coaching staff and all that.
Yeah,
But
which that was announced the other day as well, that Jeff Ward and oh, I always forget the other guy as well. Anyway, both assistant coaches that were hired this past summer
mhm.
are going to be staying with the club as well.
Yeah, there was a third name in there as well that was like an assistant coach that he's been there for
Yeah,
multiple
and he'll
years.
and he'll be
But yeah,
staying around.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for that because I think that was a huge part of why Dallas Eakins is back next year is those
Yeah.
assistant coaches. So
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, those two things, the winning culture that he established in St. Louis and then a fresh pair of eyes, I think are huge intangibles, I guess, for Rob DeMeo and what he's going to bring to the club here. So
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just reading further on into the article here. I wasn't logged in actually, so there's parts of it that were hidden from my eyes for a moment. But
mhm.
Eric Stevens, who's a beat writer for the Ducks on the Athletic as well, um, was just talking about like how this will kind of change the structure a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just he's going to fill the vacancy with the AHL team and excuse me, Todd Marchant, who it will no longer be with the organization now. Actually,
Okay.
um, he Marchant had joined after retiring as a player with Anaheim in 2011. He became their director of player development and then moved into the role of director of player personnel in more recent years. So, but yeah, he will not be with the organization anymore. It looks like. I believe it's more referring to San Diego. Um,
Yeah, I don't remember what
yeah.
his role was.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Cool.
So it's exciting times actually. Like as much as the last third of the season just dragged pretty much, right? Losing
Mhm.
streaks and everything like that, and a lot of questions in the air. I think we're getting quite a few things answered actually pretty quickly here in these
For
last
sure.
couple of weeks, and obviously more answers will be given as well going into trade or not trade deadline. Uh, going into free agency and the
Mhm.
draft and that sort of thing of like what this team could look like
Yeah.
in the next couple of years here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Marcus, thanks for joining. Good to see you again. Just wanted to shout you out there. Yeah, I guess we can move on to the next piece of news here. Ducks assigning Olin Zellweger to the San Diego Gulls after his WHL team, the Everett Silvertips, were eliminated from the playoffs. Zellweger, if you need a refresher, was the 34th overall pick in 2021. Our second round pick. He's a defenseman. could be a future, second pairing guy behind Drysdale or potentially first pairing guy with Drysdale. So I think is kind of his potential. He looks really, really good. So
Oh yeah, he really was looking good this season. With the Everett Silvertips, Zellweger led all Canadian Hockey League teams. So that's the WHL where he plays, the Ontario Hockey League, and the Quebec League. He led all three of those leagues in defense for defensemen in points, having 14 goals and 78 points. How many defensemen do you hear are a 1.42 point per game?
Cale Makar, Roman Yossi, Victor Hedman, those type of guys.
And he led in assists as well with in 55 games with Everett. He set single season career highs in scoring and recorded the most points by an Everett defenseman in franchise history. Was named to the WHL's U.S. Division Player of the Year,
nice.
which is voted on by the league's general managers, and was a finalist for WHL Player of the Year. Just to add even more to what he did this year, Zellweger recorded the highest point per game among 18-year-old WHL defensemen over the last 32 seasons, which is the most since a familiar name. Scott Niedermayer recorded a 1.44 point per game in the 1990-91 season.
So there's a little bit of a connection there with, former
a little bit
Scott Niedermayer and future Duck Olin Zellweger.
Among WHL defensemen, he led in points, assists, and ranked third in plus minus. Finished the regular season with 19 points in the last 10 games. 8 of those games being multi-point efforts.
Shit.
As well as scoring 9 points with a +4 rating. We don't normally get into plus minus too much, but it's still notable here. 9 points in 6 playoff games, tied for second among all league defensemen in postseason scoring and assists. Obviously, that's going to change now because Everett's eliminated, but he's appeared in 125 WHL games between 2019 and 2022, with 103 points in 125 games, a +70 rating, and only 33 penalty minutes.
All right.
Those are pretty good. It's been so fun, keeping up on the stats of him throughout the season and just seeing the ridiculousness that he's pulling off pretty much. He helped Canada to a gold medal at the 2021 U18 World Championship, where he was tied for the tournament lead among defensemen with 8 points and a +8 rating in 7 contests. So even in international play, he was above a point per game.
Yeah.
This is the definition of an offensive defenseman.
Absolutely. I was pretty sure that he played for Canada in the World Juniors as well. And he did play in both of the games. So we will get a chance to see him again when the tournament restarts.
Potentially.
But we'll say most likely because I feel like he would want to go back.
Yeah, that's just the weird thing with the tournament getting rescheduled for August, right? Is because you're going to have some of these guys like McTavish and Zellweger, if we're talking about the Ducks specifically, who you're not sure if their GMs are actually going to want them to go, considering the NHL season would start less than 2 months after that, right? Because I believe it's middle to end of August is the World Juniors.
We're in the middle,
or in the middle, yeah. So it's cutting it close. So
it is.
It's going to be interesting to see if every team, not even just Team Canada, Team USA, are going to have similar rosters, or how identical they'll be to what we saw originally Boxing Day there last year.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome to watch Zellweger in the AHL playoffs, I think, and see what he can do in San Diego because. It'll, I think, kind of be a preview for next season because he does he have to return to Everett next year or?
I don't believe he has to because he is 18.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay, so sorry, he would have to return. No, yes, he would have to return to Everett if he doesn't stick with the big club.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah, he can't
Okay,
go.
sorry.
He
Yeah,
can't go to the AHL. Yeah. So
yeah.
but
Sorry,
it's
my bad.
20. Is that when you can?
20 or 21. I should know this.
Yeah,
I
because
think it's
21, you're an
yeah.
overage in the WHL. So I think.
So I think it's 21.
Oh yeah, sorry, 21 would be.
I think so. Yeah.
Or is it 20? You're an overage. I no, because most guys get in
Let
when
me
they're
double
17.
check this.
Yeah,
I normally
we need to
know
double
this,
check.
but...
Yeah, because I think at most you can have like 5 years in the WHL if you play when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. But most guys do 4 years.
Yeah, per AHL bylaws, the age limit for eligibility to compete in the AHL is 18 years or over. Yeah, let's see who can play where and why by the NHL from 2016.
Yeah, I don't think
you ramble on about something, and I'll figure it out here quick.
Okay, sounds good. I don't
Oh,
know.
sorry. Okay, I already found it. You're all good. Don't worry about it. So the rule of like the 20-year-old player rule. So yeah, 20. The rule is based on the NHL and a CHL agreement, which states a signed player 18 or 19 who was claimed from a CHL club and is not retained by the NHL club must be assigned to the CHL junior club whom he last played for or owes a contractual obligation. So yeah, 20 years old, that's when you can go play the American League. So next year, if Zellweger plays his 9 games and they send him back, kind of like McTavish this year, he'll head back to Everett. So he has a chance to still make his career stats in the WHL just even more crazy.
Yeah. In the CHL, then is it 20 years old is an overage player?
I believe so.
Yes, it is. You can have 3 20-year-old or over players. So yeah,
which
that lines up with that agreement. So.
Yeah, if it's there, does that include goaltenders?
You know what? I don't know.
Would it be like two skaters and a goaltender, or could you have 3 skaters and a goaltender?
It doesn't.
Because I know like
say it just says 20-year-old or over players per team. So yeah.
So I feel like it would be like 2 and a goalie if you wanted to go that route. Yeah. So just because I know we've had Tiger teams that have kept around a goalie into their in their 20 years. So
yeah,
they're extra. They're overage here. There you go.
Yeah. So maybe I'll do a quick search for that with goalies. Potentially you can have a 4th if it is a goalie. This is looking at adding a 4th overage spot. No, okay, never mind.
Okay.
So it sounds like it's 3,
just 3 in general. Okay.
I also didn't realize this, but you can only have up to 4 16-year-olds as well. I didn't know that there was a limit on that. I just kind of assumed that you didn't want to pump your roster full of 16-year-olds. But
which makes sense because they are technically underage in that league. And I mean, you can easily tell who the 16-year-olds are. Like the call-ups are are typically the 16-year-olds, and they still have to wear the full cage. They aren't allowed to wear the visors just yet.
Yeah.
Which is different to college hockey for the States, where you wear a cage throughout college. They don't get to wear visors until the NHL or like just professional hockey, I guess. So
yeah.
It's a weird thing that the college considers the CHL a professional development league. So it's a weird kind of one-way track of you could have an NCAA player in the States transfer to a CHL club. I know there was an example. Tyler Pitlick, I think, was one.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, where he was playing in the States originally for a college. I don't remember who, and then he came up to the Medicine Hat Tigers of the WHL. But you can't do the opposite. As soon as you play one game or 1 second even of CHL hockey, your eligibility for the NCAA is taken from you. And the reason I knew that part actually at first was because one of my cousins was called up to the Tigers, and he was playing as the backup goalie.
Mm-hmm.
And they were assured though that like unless he was absolutely needed, they weren't going to put him in the pipes because they wanted to keep that option open to play in the States. So
So it's not like if you get like like you can practice with them technically and like and like sit on the bench, but it's once you get first time on ice, second.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Then your eligibility for the NCAA is gone.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know that actually, but it's interesting. Before we get into the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Ducks did their exit interviews. So I don't know much about what went on there. So I'm going to leave this up to you, Nate. If there was anything of interest to discuss here.
Yeah, sure. A lot of different players. I was just kind of reading through the article that was on the Ducks website. And so there's a different range of things talked about, like individual performance and growth, how the season went, kind of their expectations for next year and that sort of thing. Mm. And so there's a couple key players, obviously, that were talked to. Kevin Shattenkirk, Trevor Zegras, Dallas Eakins was talked to as well. Mm-hmm. It was interesting reading Anthony Stolarz' comments, I thought, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll start with, just a couple of players just talking about their team season and that. And if you want to read all of these quotes plus more, obviously it's on the Anaheim Ducks website in their news section. So I'm just going to kind of pick and choose in certain areas here. But I like this quote from Kevin Shattenkirk on the team's season. He said, quote, "We've shown this year we could be a suffocating offense. We have great forecheckers up front, guys who apply a lot of pressure. It's a matter of everyone staying connected. When things are going well, it's seamless. It's everyone is doing their job and everyone is on their respective marks, taking care of things as a unit of five. It's when we get disconnected that you start to see things falling apart. That's a simple way to put it. Which, that's, obviously internal analysis and everything like that, right? But that's what that's what we were seeing from the outside.
Yeah. Can we get Kevin as the head coach for this team? Because it seems like he knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, exactly. But he's totally got it right though. I think from what we were seeing this year, especially on the back end, right? As soon as there's a little bit of miscommunication, everything fell apart in the back end there, and that's where it was costing us. So, and especially in that final third of the season, right? Like after the All-Star game and whatnot. That's when things were really having an issue with that communication and cohesiveness, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Zegras was saying that he thought it was pretty good. They had some fun this year, but as a team, they would have liked to do a bit better. Mm-hmm. And he said it's weird how everything comes to an end. It's a little unsettling, but there's a lot of things to be excited about for next year, and that's where my head is at. So he's already ready to go for next year.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go through two more here for just about like the season in general. Sure. I want to actually, I'll go Stolarz and then I'll go Eakins because I feel like Eakins potentially could stir up conversation. Just with
as it does.
As it does. Yeah, exactly. So Stolarz was saying that in the first half, we showed we can play at a high level and compete for a playoff spot. Absolutely. We had a tough battle with COVID and lost some important pieces at the deadline, but it gave an opportunity for guys to step up and play a bigger role, and that will help us next season. Very short to the point, but Stolarz is absolutely right. They did have issues with COVID around what was that, like mid-December kind of thing.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
And they absolutely lost important pieces at the deadline there. And a lot of those guys are, man, it feels like Duck season is going on right now in the playoffs currently. Raquel's getting hit in the head. Something happened. I didn't see what happened exactly, but something happened in the Carolina-Boston game to Lindholm tonight. And man, it's just not a good time pretty much, except for Nick Delorier, which we'll get into that a little bit later. So
there's Manson too. And I think he's been just fine because I haven't heard anything about him. So
100%. And then Dallas Eakins about the season. He said, quote, "To me, this game comes down to three things. Sorry. It comes to puck battles, so scoring goals or giving them up. It comes to turnovers, and turnovers end up in your own net or in your zone. Excuse me. And then penalties. And from the first year I took over here, I think we've done a much better job of not getting stung night after night on penalties. I think he's correct on that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We still need to get better and understand what an unforgivable league this is when it comes to turnovers. And I think we can get way, way better on the battles. So if we can look at those after those three areas, that's going to, in a bigger effect, help that goal differential. We're going to score more goals and we're going to give up way less.
I think to an extent, he's got a point. Those things do need work.
Yeah.
I just hope that those aren't the only things he thinks this team needs.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where your head's at?
A little bit, yeah. Like obviously there's certain things of like, like actual player personnel that is outside of his scope, right? That's on Pat Verbeek now and that sort of thing. But they're still trying to utilize those players to the best of your ability, right? It's what I've been talking about for the last however many weeks since we kind of had that downward spiral of he's not utilizing the players to the best of their ability in terms of at least like matchups or who they're getting paired with, right, on their lines or that sort of thing. So, which really came to a head a couple weeks ago when it came out that Eakins was talking about, like, say, Zegras, right, who he was saying was fragile and it kind of fallen off. And then you kind of take a look and you go, well, yeah, he's been playing with Derek Grant for the last little while. We saw him play with some higher level players in Sonny Milano and Troy Terry, and could see that he just went off when he played with players that at least matched his skill, right?
Yeah.
Or were able to keep up with him, right? It's kind of that idea of, like we even joke about like with Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid, right? Of like, oh yeah, I could go on the ice and get at least 10 points in a season if I were to be on the line with McDavid, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a difference, and I think we saw that with Connor McDavid specifically, where there was people who just didn't have the same kind of hockey IQ or some of the skill sets in order to keep up with him. And that's why it made it so much of McDavid trying to do it all on his own. Right.
Yeah.
And you look to the 2019-2020 season, I believe, is when they brought in Andreas Athanasiou, and who was the other guy that they brought in that was from Detroit?
He was a defenseman because Athanasiou came from Detroit.
Okay, there was somebody else anyway, but you saw those two guys play together, and I saw a clip from I think that was the first game of those three playing together. And something that I noticed at least was McDavid was passing backwards, right? Because that's normally where everybody that he played with was at that point.
Yeah.
But instead he had the other two guys actually with him. It was a former Tiger. It's gonna bug the hell out of me now.
Oh, Tyler Ennis.
Thank you. Yes, Tyler Ennis. So, but those two were able to keep up with McDavid, right?
Yeah.
So that it was a more lateral pass compared to a backwards one. Like even just simple things like that, right, can really affect a player and a line and an entire team. So that's me going a little bit deeper than what I have in the past, but it's like some of those just line combinations just don't work.
Yeah.
So I think the third line for the most part, that was probably the most consistent and like in terms of personnel who was playing on it, and it worked out, right? Because that line got a lot of chances actually. Isaac Lundestrom had 15 goals in the season, I think it was, if I'm remembering off the top of my head.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Either way, he had a good chunk of points for a third line centerman.
Yeah.
Right.
Going back to Zegras, I think what really shows like the potential of like what a line with Zegras on it could look like is when he plays with Milano, because like those guys just have insane chemistry. Like Milano just thinks the game the same way as Zegras. Milano and Zegras aren't the same player. Like I would take Zegras over Milano 100 times out of 100. Like Zegras is not to take anything away from Milano, but Zegras is it's just a fact that he is a better and more skilled player than Milano. But they think the game the same way. And that's what makes them work together. So like you can't just put any let's call Milano a middle six guy. You can't just put any middle six guy on a line with Zegras. You need to put a middle six guy or a top six guy that thinks the way that Zegras does on a line with Zegras. And Milano is that guy, which is what makes him so valuable to this team. So and Derek Grant, like again, not to take anything away from Derek Grant, but he just doesn't think the game the same way Zegras does. And that's not a bad thing, but it just shows that they don't work together. So,
And speaking of Derek Grant, actually, that's a good segue into just another area that I want to touch on here. There's a couple in here that I'm going to touch on, and just like certain quotes. So talking about individual performance and growth, Derek Grant had a short quote in here saying, "It's always a long season, and it got off to a rough start for me, but as the season went on, I felt like I got better, and I felt like I was playing pretty good hockey down the stretch." He's not incorrect in that respect, right?
Yeah.
He was an absolute no-show pretty much at the start of the season, and he did get more opportunities closer to the end, right? I think part of that was maybe because of some of those trades, right? Kind of like I think it was Shattenkirk or Stolarz earlier was talking about, right? That, you know, certain guys go out, other people get chances and that sort of thing. But he was playing better hockey in the second half or last quarter or whatever you want to go, like however you want to go about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't phenomenal by any means, but it was better at least.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So
It's what we kind of expected from Derek Grant.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, there's two more here for this section that I think I really want to talk about personally. You know, we were talking about Isaac Lundstrom in that third line here, so I want to go with that one. Lundstrom was saying, again, just about individual performance. I've been here for a while now, so I definitely felt more comfortable with the guys this year. I think that's huge for me, just being comfortable with all the guys on the team. I've done some progressive things, like going more to the net and finding the open spots in the slot. That created more goal scoring chances for me, more goals and more points. So that's fun for my own play, which, yeah, he really did, right? And that's why he was just like, it was nice when we saw Lundstrom get a goal and they started to add up, right? Which is why I was saying, like, he got decent numbers actually for as young as he is on the third line.
Yeah.
He was doing great. So there wasn't a whole lot that I really had to complain about his performance individually overall throughout the season.
Yeah, no, he was just steady. He was streaky, but steady. So like, I won't say consistent, but like generally you knew what you were getting.
He wasn't a liability at least.
Yeah, there you go. That's
right?
what I'm trying to say. Yeah, thank you.
And the one that I'll go to Stolarz here next, which something in here he says, I kind of realized like, oh yeah, he's right on this. I mean, obviously he would be, he knows. So yeah, Stolarz said, I thought I had a good year. Obviously it was my first year making an NHL team and staying on the roster the entire year.
Oh, really?
Which kind of surprises me too, actually. I kind of had to think about it for a second. I was like,
yeah,
actually on every team he's been with, he's kind of gone up and down or whatever.
Yeah.
As the year wore on, I got more and more confident and knew when my name was called, I'd be ready. I just wanted to go out there, give an honest effort, and give the guys a chance every time I was there. Now, we were just talking about consistency. This, like, Stolarz was one of the most consistent players, I think, on the club this season.
Right? I would say he was the most consistent.
Yeah, like you knew what you knew what you were going to get out of every game, right? And he didn't really, and even when he had an off game, it was an average game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Otherwise,
generally, I don't think it was his fault. It was the team was off, and then it showed on his numbers.
Exactly, and like there's really not too many traditional backups anymore that they like you see on the the lines preview that the backup starting and you go, yeah, I'm 100% confident in that goaltender actually. Right? There's not too many more of those really.
No.
So
yeah.
Stolarz played great this year. Like I said, I wish he could have played more in the season and whatnot, but Dallas Eakins has his reasons, I'm sure. I'm hoping he has legitimate reasons.
Yeah, he better, because when we ask him, he needs an answer. I think all of these are like really good points that this team makes. So like it seems like all of their heads are in the right space. Like they know what they need to work on. They know what they did well. Which is good. It's not just like, oh, we sucked at this, we sucked at this, we sucked at this. Hopefully next year's we don't suck as much. It's like, oh no, I think we did well at this. I think we did well at this. We're going to work on this. We're going to work on this. Like there's that balance between both. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, 100%. And there was, I think, two other sections I wanted to talk about here quick. I'm just double checking if the one I imagined. Okay, yeah. Actually, there's two more here that I want to talk about. So
Yeah,
it's the
sure.
club's future is where I'll start here. So this quote was making its rounds today, which I absolutely love it. Zegras saying, "I love Anaheim. I love playing here. This is probably one of the nicest places I've lived my whole life. I don't think anything beats the weather here. All I can really say is I love playing here. I love playing at Honda Center, and I love these guys." Which that's
Perfect.
really promising because you
You
have
want
like
that.
there has been rookies in the past and like higher end ones who are just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be playing hockey kind of thing, right? But um just maybe didn't dive in nearly as much.
Hmm.
Uh and one player that I just kind of think of, and I don't even know if it's necessarily, I might be reading too much into this or kind of like putting a narrative on something, but I remember the 2015 draft lottery. And obviously, you know, they're live with Connor McDavid as it happens, but you know who the second overall pick is going to be as well in Jack
Hmm.
Eichel.
Yeah.
There's a video that was going around after the draft lottery of him at a party, and you know, Buffalo, I'm coming for you, right?
Hmm.
But you also have to remember the state of Buffalo at the time as well, right? Not much different from where it started this season
Yeah.
of teams not really going anywhere. And I
Hmm.
mean, you really had that case, I think, with both Edmonton and Buffalo. But they're also not too different from each other, I feel like. Edmonton's probably a little bit colder, but you know, Buffalo still has like the dreary winters and that kind of thing,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
you really got to make the best of it kind of thing. And obviously California, Anaheim, Orange County is going to be a lot different from like Edmonton or that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So the atmosphere that you're in as well outside of the arena can make a huge impact, I think, as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think you're 100% right. Like
Yeah.
it's the reason why places like Edmonton and Vancouver and Winnipeg aren't like the most attractive for free agents. Like they rarely get the
They're also
big name
Canadian
free agents.
markets.
Yeah, they're Canadian markets, and the weather's shit the whole time you're there. Like
I would say Vancouver's the best out of all the Canadian markets.
the best out of the three. Yeah, the three I kind of picked on. I was like,
Oh,
well,
I would
Vancouver's
actually
always
just say
rainy.
out of
Edmonton's cold as shit. Winnipeg
yeah.
is colder as shit. So like,
Yeah,
either way,
I would actually just go with all out of all seven, Vancouver's the best because you're not really getting snow. It's just cooler, right? It's
yeah,
like anywhere on the West Coast, I feel like. But
yeah, yeah, exactly. But like, those are not only just for the fact that they're Canadian markets, but like when you're there, it sucks, especially if you are an American player or you are a player that's been in, say, California. Like Trevor Zegras is never going to want to go to Edmonton or like Winnipeg or
no.
those kind of places because he's like, why would the fuck would I do that? I have to pay taxes and then it's also going to be minus 40 like half the time I'm there. Fuck no.
Yeah.
like
Like outside of the arena, I feel like the only place better than California, and this is coming from a tourist of California pretty much, right?
mhm.
The only place that would maybe be better in terms of, you know, your taxes, your weather, and that kind of thing would maybe be Florida.
Yeah.
But California is pretty hard to beat, I feel like, otherwise.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
or maybe Vegas, but at the same time, with everything that they're doing there, I don't know. I don't know anymore, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
um,
Was there another one you wanted to get
yeah.
through, or
So,
is that
yeah,
okay.
there's a couple more just with the club's future, and then I'm gonna end the exit interviews on a nicer note. So this one from Dallas Eakins here on the team's future. As a staff, we're going to watch these playoffs, especially a few teams in particular, on what they're doing. I'd be actually interested to know which teams in particular.
Mhm.
Now we can really just sit and watch other teams, not be buried in our own team as well. We're sending players out and saying, get stronger, get faster, and all this stuff. But the homework for the coaches right now is to go reevaluate everything we've been preaching, teaching, and trying to enforce. There are ways we need to get better as well. That'll start this week watching certain teams play and how they play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be curious to know what teams they're looking at specifically that they want to kind of mimic a play style.
Yeah, I think we'll probably know within a couple months once the season starts.
Yeah,
You'll kind of be able to
there's
tell. Actually,
there's
maybe even after the off season, it's like, okay, they've got this player who is kind of like
yeah,
this player here, this player who's like this player also in
which
this
that'll
place.
be
So
in tandem with Pat Verbeek, I feel like, right?
yeah.
Because you got to bring in those certain kind of players.
Hmm.
Now, if I'm looking around the league at what playoff teams are around, that could maybe be looked at. I'm feeling the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously back-to-back cup champs, do well in the regular season, but are able to push through the playoffs. I feel like the Toronto Maple Leafs is another one, especially with cap room, right? You can get some higher end guys, load up on skill. You got a good foundation for a back end that you can improve on, and you potentially have the goaltending, right? You could do something similar to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I feel like.
I think in terms of the forwards, I think as an organization as a whole, because there's back end questions, it's not like even right now, you just can't compare them because we have John Gibson and they have their guys.
Jack Campbell.
Not John Gibson. So that's it's so maybe in the forward aspect I could see that.
Another team that I'm wondering about is a team within their division that's been getting a lot of talk lately, and I'm not trying to be biased when I say the Calgary Flames.
I mean, the East and the West are totally different, right? So like you can't build a team like the Ducks can't build a team that is based off of an Eastern Conference team. So they're gonna get fucked like every night. Because they're totally different play styles. So I think modeling after a team in your division it makes sense. And why wouldn't you after the first place team in the division this year?
And the Flames have depth throughout their lineup, right? And especially with a lot of the young guys we have coming up, you could have that depth if developed properly, right? So you could have a steady, solid 4 lines, right? Just with development, bringing in certain guys and that sort of thing. Same with your back end, right? And goaltending, I feel like you're pretty much there if John Gibson can, return to form that we saw for majority of the season. Coming into next year. You have pieces there already. There's just a few things you got to tweak here and there, and you could potentially have a similar kind of team. Now, implementing a Daryl Sutter type system into that as well is something I feel like really only Daryl Sutter can do. Everyone can try to mimic it to the best of their ability, but it's never going to be Sutter hockey. So, but just the idea of the roster and how you want to play teams and whatnot, that can be mimicked. And I feel like the Calgary Flames would be a good option to look at.
I think that one is probably option one, and the second option, and I think probably just these two would be the ones that I would try and mimic if I was in Verbeek and Eakins' position. The other one would be the Colorado Avalanche. Because just like Calgary, they have depth at all positions. They have Kemper, who, like Gibson and Markstrom in Anaheim and Calgary, is like the guy for the most part. The only difference I would say is that between Calgary and Colorado is that Calgary plays like that get under your skin kind of hockey, whereas and a little bit more defensively responsible, I think. Like once they get the lead, it's about holding the lead, whereas Colorado plays like the more like the physical game, but without getting under your skin. And they're like, let's score as many goals as we can. Like no lead is safe. Like the best defense is a good offense. Like that's kind of where the mentality differs, I think. But otherwise they're kind of built the same. It's more so just the execution that's a little bit different. So
for sure. And also another reason I had said Tampa that I didn't bring up is obviously Pat Verbeek was in Tampa. He was instrumental in helping create those back-to-back teams. And especially being under Stevie Y, you could definitely have that influence there. So
absolutely. I think so. I think maybe those 3 teams are kind of the models. And
last thing I wanted to bring up here too, there's 2 quotes specifically on Ducks fans specifically, and this comes from Benoit and Jones. So from Benoit, he says, one of my takeaways from the season is being with the fans and having them always cheering for us. We had a great start, and then trades happened. They stayed with us the entire time. They were great all year. And then from Max Jones, who has a bit of a longer one, says, when you get injured, you're more worried about the rehab, the injury, and coming back. You're just worried about everything. Once it finally got announced that I had gotten hurt, the amount of support I received from the Ducks fan base was unbelievable. It was so comforting to me. My girlfriend, my parents, and my family all knew how hard it was for me, and they knew what it meant to me when I saw all the mentions coming through and people messaging me on Instagram. Hearing people were with me and on my side just made me happy. It drove me the whole 7 months I was out. And yeah, I kind of forgot it was 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
I know people want to see me play and cheer me on, but that's something that makes it special here in Anaheim, that fan base. So good job, Ducks fans. I know there was a lot of negativity, especially in like the last part, but we did stick with this team and specifically the players individually for the most part, I feel like. So a big shout out to you guys and gals. So
yeah, hell yeah. We talked about it on the live stream actually that I was on. I believe it was Kevin that brought it up. That California, I can't remember if you were here or not, but that California hockey is like, it's not the biggest fan base, but it's the most loyal and like most dedicated fan base in California. So that's that's awesome. And I think it's recognized there by Benoit and Jones, just how loyal the fans are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. Okay, before we get into the playoff hockey, let's take a quick break. You've got some words from our sponsor here, I believe.
Yeah, so I was running behind on things again, so you get to get another live ad read from me. And
you're gonna get real good at these. So
I've at least gotten better at them. Yeah, I'm almost at Audie James level now. Almost. Hockey fans, the pursuit for the Stanley Cup is on, and DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer for the most exciting playoffs in sports. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $100 in free bets no matter what, win or lose. Are you looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during the playoffs? With DraftKings same game parlays, you can do just that. That's a mouthful there. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more. It's your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, and best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So, what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use the promo code THPN, bet just $5 on any NHL team to win, and get $100 in free bets no matter what. Again, that's code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Damn, that was so good, except for the little slip up at the end. It was like perfect.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
That is a mouthful though. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. That's just like a few syllables in there.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to do it, but hey, you were going, so yeah, way better than me.
I need a drink now. You can talk for a bit.
Sounds good. I want to get to a couple comments here that popped up earlier. Ali updating us 3-2 rain over the Gauls. That is a final score there.
That's not a final, is that? No, there's no way it's a final.
Yeah, I looked it up because I was like 3-2, like at the end of the first, but it said, unless I looked at the wrong date and there was another.
I'm pretty sure you looked at the wrong date because that game started like an hour ago.
Oh, did it? Okay, never mind then. Oh Jesus!
Here, I'll take a look here.
Okay,
I'll take a look. You can go through the other comments.
Okay, well, it's more of a discussion one, so we'll save it. Oh yeah, shit. No, I looked at the one from. Oh no, Wednesday, May 4th. Yeah, it says final on the Gauls website. Anyways. Are you sure it didn't start like 8 o'clock Eastern time?
Thursday, May 5th, 7 p.m. Yeah, it doesn't have anything there. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Well, it's May 4th, though.
May 4th final. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm taking a look here.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, no, it is 3-2 at the end of the first. Okay.
Yeah.
Why does it say final on their website? Okay.
I don't know. I'm looking at the article now, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because, I thought like... Yeah. Because she just said 3-2, so I was like, oh, well, I'll look up when it is, and it says final. So, all right.
Yeah. After the first
San Diego Gauls.com. Figure it out. Yeah, after the first period makes a lot more sense if it actually did start at 8 then. Okay. 8 our time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one, Lauren wanted to know. Thanks for the update, Ali. Sorry that we butchered it.
Which, by the way, it has like the live clock and everything like that on the AHL website. So I have that up now.
Okay.
So cool. We're just over the 2-minute mark into the second period now.
Nice. Lauren had a question for us. Do you think Pat Verbeek will improve the Ducks this offseason and take us to the next step? I thought I would leave it for the end of the exit interviews because it's kind of a nice wrap up. Just while you think about your answer, she says that she trusts Verbeek.
Yeah. I think we talked about this was last episode or 2 episodes ago, I think. That it was last episode, I think. He's got a lot of money that he can play with this year. You could make some decent improvements with that amount of cash if you wanted to right now. I think he'll budget it a little bit, not spend all of it.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you maybe leave, say, 10 million, right? It's kind of like this year, you're not anticipating the playoffs, but if you're there and you're at trade deadline and you got 10 million, you can make a pretty decent trade. I feel like that could help improve your chance, right? Even if not for the playoffs, you could make a deal that potentially just helps you the next season or that sort of thing. So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's at least what I would do. Wouldn't try to be spending all 82 million or 84 million. I think it'll be next year or something like that. I forget offhand, but
82 and a half.
82 and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think he will be doing some work, whether it's off-season trades or free agency is going to be huge, I think, for the Ducks this year. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I 100% have faith in Verbeek to build this team into something good over the next few years. It's not going to be like, okay, we're good now next year. I think if done right, this team is going to go through another year of not being very good, maybe 2 of not
but we'll
being
take a
very good.
step.
We'll take a step each year. At least I hope so. But by the 3rd year of Verbeek's, I guess 3rd full year of Verbeek's tenure here, I think is when you'll really see how good of a team he's built, because he's going to bring in players he should bring in players that will kind of grow with Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry and Jamie Drysdale, because in 3 years, those guys are going to be in their prime. And that's when you want to be, competing for the playoffs. Not just like, okay, let's try and make the playoffs. Let's like make some noise in the playoffs.
The expectation will be playoffs and to go a couple rounds deep at least.
Yeah. So we're either going to bring in guys that are around that same age as them, maybe a couple years older, or we're going to bring in guys that I don't want to say are similar to Ryan Getzlaf, but like have that veteran experience, have been to the show, have gone deep in the playoffs, are like kind of in that mentorship role, not like in their 30s, but maybe they're late 20s, early 30s, I would say. Like those guys that are going to be impactful in 3 years as veterans, but in the meantime are going to kind of prepare the core for that. So I think, and we have that cap space. So I think that's kind of Verbeek's plan, is to take it slow. And I trust that he will do that. So we just got to not like run him out of town over the next.
Yeah, exactly. Got to trust the process a little bit this time. So because it is going to be different from Bob Murray, right? Where it felt like he was just trying to maintain as much as he could and that sort of thing. Yeah. And then when it wasn't working out so much anymore, it felt like a struggle to even just say the word rebuild. Right. So whereas Verbeek's like, yep, we got pieces here. We can absolutely improve on it. And we're close to making this team a contender already. So
yeah, I think too, like, I think we might get quote unquote lucky a little bit, like the Rangers a few years ago and like the Kings this year,
like fast turnarounds.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, yes, we're entering a rebuild. We're shipping off 4 main pieces at the deadline for assets, and then we're going to kind of start fresh next season. So it might be a couple rough years, but we're not like Arizona or Buffalo where it's like, okay, we'll ship some guys out and now we have nothing.
Yeah.
No, we shipped some guys out and we have Trevor Zegras, Troy Terry, Isaac Lundestrom, Sam Steele, Cam Fowler still, Jamie Drysdale. Like, we have tons of guys. So like, yes, we're going into a rebuild and we're kind of stripping it down and we're going to suck for the rest of this season, which is now over. But like, if you bring in the right guys, all of a sudden this team is going to be rebuilding, but they're going to be getting a lot of wins.
I feel like the first half of the season was a good indicator of when this team is playing well and is set up to succeed
and fully healthy.
that it can do things, right? And you just add to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can kind of see what, like, just kind of looking at the whole season in hindsight, I can see what Verbeek's talking about of, yeah, this is only a few pieces away from being a contender again. I can see what he's talking about. So
yeah, absolutely.
But I do got to give credit to Bob Murray, I guess, in that respect, right? Of being able to, I guess, retool for as long as he did, that when the rebuild started, it doesn't feel like it was actually too far off. I don't think he was the guy to complete the rebuild. Obviously, the way that he left was not ideal, right? But I mean, I guess neither is really firing, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but we have somebody who I think could do that job, though he doesn't overly have the track record of him being at the helm of it yet. He's been part of that kind of process in Tampa Bay. So
yeah. So yeah, thanks for the question, Lauren. Very good one. Got us on some good tracks there. Let's before we hit the let's do the Stanley Cup stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see how long that takes. So Monday, 4 games happened. 2 of them ended in shootouts.
Or in overtime, you mean? There's no shootouts.
Sorry, shutouts. Two of them ended in shutouts. Sorry. Yeah. There was one of them ended in none of them ended in overtime. So Monday, sorry. Threw off my mojo. And I mean by you, I mean me for saying shootout instead of shutout. Yeah, so Monday we ended up with 2 shutouts, one from Jack Campbell of the Maple Leafs. On the live stream, I was saying Anderson, so I apologize again for miscrediting the shutout there. And the other one for Ville Husso on the Minnesota Wild. So, damn, that was unexpected for both of those guys. I mean, it's very hard to say, like, oh, I think this guy's going to get a shutout in this playoff series, but like,
because I know we were questioning who was even going to start for St. Louis. Do you go with Bennington, who's got the playoff, the playoff experience, or do you go with the hot hand in Husso?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were. I said Husso, and I was right. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with this win, it like a little bit of an early big dick energy move here, but like that's a big dick energy move by Husso to just like lay it out and be like, you guys are questioning if it's going to be me or Binnington to start. Let me show you who's going to start every fucking game of the Blues playoff run.
Now, I know it's only been 1 game, but we've also seen a bit of the regular season. Depending, I think, on how far the Blues go these playoffs, and depending on who leads them, if it's Husso, you got to question what you're doing with Jordan Binnington then, I think. Yeah, it feels really premature considering it's the exact same situation that Binnington was in. But you got to take a look at it, I think, if you're the St. Louis Blues front end there.
Yeah. No, for sure. The Hurricanes and Bruins, that game ended 5-1. I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, not
by that. Like, this is the one series that I wouldn't be surprised if it was a sweep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I predicted a sweep in any of. Well, I did in my hot takes bracket that I did. For one of the leagues, I predicted a sweep for that one because I mean, I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. The Hurricanes swept the Bruins in like the finals, like the conference finals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember which year it was, but like, and then just this year, like the Hurricanes have had their number. I had the game on earlier this afternoon, and at this time it was 2-0 for the Hurricanes, and in the season, like the whole season, including playoffs, so 4 and a bit games, the Hurricanes had outscored the Bruins 23-2 in the 4 and a few games. There's an outlier in there of like a 7-1 or 7-0 game or something like that from the regular season. But like they've just dominated. And then the one tonight was 5-2. So add another 3 goals to that, 26-4. They've outscored them. Like it's just madness. So like as good as the Bruins still are, like they don't have a chance. I'm sorry. They don't.
And I think we said at the top of the show, but we can give an update, I guess, for game 2 because there are game 2s going on tonight. The Hurricanes beating the Bruins again 5-2 this time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that series now 2-0. Leafs and Lightning are tied up at 1. What was the final score in that one? 5-3?
5-3 was the final for tonight's game. But yeah, Monday was a 5-0 win for the Maple Leafs. As we said, Jack Campbell with the shutout there. And
yeah,
man, Maple Leafs fans were going nuts. And I totally understand it, actually. I'm not going to, it's like a lot of them are trying to temper their expectations. But man, you start off with a 5-0 win over the defending Cup champs in game 1. That's a major boost to your morale in that locker room.
Absolutely.
So they got brought back down, I think, a little bit with a 5-3 game, but they show that they can keep with them. So
yeah, for sure.
This will be a fun series. I think in both my brackets, I have this series going to 7 games.
Oh, for sure. So, yeah, it is. Yeah. Whether it's going to be another memeable 7-game just dumpster fire for the Maple Leafs, or it's going to be the Lightning giving it everything they've got and the Leafs overcoming them. Like either way, it's going to be in 7 games. So,
okay, now I have a question for you because this is going around on a couple different shows. Who has the bigger expectations on them, Toronto or Tampa? Because you have the 2-time defending Cup champs, and you have the team that has been stuck in the first round for the last 18 years.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by expectation? Do you mean like the bigger thing to prove, or like yeah, I don't know. What do you mean by expectation? Which team
is going to be more disappointed by losing this series?
Okay. I think the most disappointed maybe would be like the Lightning, because yeah, I'm going to say disappointed the Lightning, just because like obviously like their team is basically the same as it's been the last couple of years, give or take a few pieces. So like, and there's always kind of been those question marks of like, oh yeah, but the COVID Cup or whatever for the last couple of years, like they've made that excuse. So I think they want to win it in like the most real season we've had in the last.
Which I still don't put the asterisk behind any of those cups. Like if anything, it made it harder, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think the team that carries the most risk in losing this series is the Maple Leafs. Because if the Lightning lose, they're like, yeah, that sucks and we're disappointed and we wanted a third one. But like at the end of the day, they're like, we know we're still good. We're going to be good again next year. Like they're not going to blow up the team because they lost in the first round after winning 2 Stanley Cups. It's like, okay, like wasn't our year. We're a little fatigued. Let's have some rest, come back next year and probably win another cup. I don't know. If the Maple Leafs lose this series though, fucking fire sale. Everything half price. Dubas gone. Matthews, big question mark. Marner, big question mark. Goaltending gone. Defense blown up. Like I think it's at this point it would be time to overreact.
See, now I'm kind of on the fence about it because I think it's more of a disappointment for Toronto, right? Because you're still not getting past the first round, especially with the season that they had.
Yeah.
Right. Like the best in Maple Leafs history, if I'm not mistaken. But at the same time, I don't think it gets blown up unless Kyle Dubas gets fired. Because if you lose out in this round, you go, well, we lost to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's more of a disappointment. So it's more of a disappointment if Toronto loses, I think. But I don't think it gets blown up just because of that. If it was any other team, I could see the blow up starting to happen. But I think because specifically they're against Tampa, I don't see a blow up coming.
At what point though, like, do you just like stop making excuses and say like
next year
this team isn't good enough? Like
next year
they I forget who it was 2 years ago, but like last year, it's like, okay, like, yeah, we lost to a team that was just like hungrier than we were, or like a hot goalie, however you want to, justify them losing to the Canadians. Like, and do you remember who they played in the 2020 bubble?
2020 they lost to Columbus in the play-in.
Oh, right.
So I know we have
Yeah.
this argument over the last couple of weeks. Technically, they didn't make the playoffs.
Whatever. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I don't think you could, like, because they've gone through upsets over the last 2, 3, 4 years, however many. I don't know. I've lost count at this point. Like, I don't think you can make the excuse like, okay, yeah, it was another first round exit. Like, holy fuck, when are we going to win in the first round? But like, it was against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. Like, maybe we should get a pass on this one. It's like, no, if your team's not good enough, like, you should be good enough to, like, if it's not good enough to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions, like, then it's not good enough.
I still feel like it's next year.
I don't know. I don't.
If it was just the one-time Stanley Cup champions, yeah, sure. Okay. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, though, these guys know how to do it, right? And like you said, a lot of that Lightning team is intact, save for the third line that really helped them, but they kind of tried to retool that in their own way. But you still have Vasilevsky, so if Stamkos, you have a healthy Stamkos and Kucherov, right? Yeah. You have Hedman on the back end. Like, that core is still there, and they are completely healthy. It's not 2020 where they're missing Stamkos, or, you know, Kucherov is, you know, healthy and that sort of thing like last year. But, you know, there's the tiny bit of rust for the first little bit, at least, right? Yeah. That could really have changed and changed everything. So I don't know. I still feel like for the Leafs, this would be the one that you're like, okay, you know what? This is the one to not panic about. But if it happens again next year, then you really start to panic.
What if they lose again next year to the defending Stanley Cup champions?
Whoever if it's not Tampa, then that's when it's okay. It's the one time, blow it up. It's literally because like if they had a chance to be either played the Lightning or Boston for this year. If it was Boston and they lose the first round, absolutely, that team's getting torn apart.
Okay.
I think it's just purely because it's not even defending Cup champs, back-to-back defending Cup champs.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I think we should move on to this. I do have more I want to say, but we'll save it for for another time. We'll have a weekly like Leafs debate segment, and I'll just remember what I was going to say from last.
Unless they're out. So
yeah, the Oilers and Kings is the last series. Actually, no, we didn't really talk about the Wild and Blues series. But that game currently is at least for notifications that I have 4-1 Wild in the second period.
Yeah, with under 4 minutes left.
Okay, so looks like that one is, knock on wood, and obviously anything can happen, but at the very least, it looks like the Wild came back swinging. Most likely going to be a 1-1 series again, knock on wood. But at the very least, if the Blues do come back, it's the Wild didn't just kind of lie down and die for the second game in a row. So I think this is another 7-game series.
I could see it as well. I think I have 6 for this one. The big surprise for me from this series actually comes from the Minnesota Wild specifically. And you know me, I'm a Fleury fanboy and that sort of thing. I'm very surprised, though, that they didn't start Cam Talbot for game 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised on that, too. Like, I get the playoff experience with Fleury, but Talbot was your guy for most of the season.
Cam Talbot was undefeated in regulation for the last 16 games that he played in the regular season.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think or 15 games. I think it was like 13-0-2 he went. He was undefeated in regulation for the last 15 games of the season.
I mean, the reason they brought in Fleury though is like to be the guy for the playoffs.
But when you have Talbot playing like that, right? Like that's
No, I agree with you.
Both goalies are veteran goalies who have the playoff experience, right? Talbot with I believe, with the Rangers behind Lundqvist, with the Oilers for the 2017 run. And these guys, and I guess Talbot last year as well for Minnesota for the playoffs as well, right? Like Talbot has playoff experience as well, and Fleury has
performed well in the playoffs.
And Fleury has what was the stat that I saw? The longest individual playoff streak for a North American athlete at 16 years. he's been to the postseason. This guy's played a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
Or been at least like a part of a lot of playoff games.
Yeah.
I was still surprised though that they went with Fleury for game 1. If I was the coach, I personally would have went with Cam Talbot.
I would have too. Yeah. They went with Fleury for game 2 as well.
Yes, they did.
So that's interesting.
Which I feel like for that one, it was okay. If the Wild were to lose that game, then you were going to Talbot no matter what. So, but
yeah,
we'll have to see how this game works here too. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's the one takeaway I took from at least that first game. It wasn't even like it was before the game even started kind of thing. So
yeah. Oilers and Kings. That one was a 4-3 win for the LA Kings in game 1.
Holy shit, did the Oilers outplay the Kings? But the Kings played 100% their type of game where they sat back and let the Oilers, specifically Mike Smith, make mistakes.
Yeah, that was their game plan.
That's 100%.
Yeah. So that's that's really all I have to say. I mean, if anyone watched the live stream, like, you kind of already know my thoughts on it, but I think Nate also just hit the nail on the head there. So,
and when I say outplay, I mean outplay. Money Puck has that game 1 at 69.2% of the time the Oilers are winning.
Nice, 69. Yeah,
but they were.
I'm not surprised. Yeah,
all over. But again, it was the Kings playing that. Okay, you come to us, and as soon as we see a weakness, we're exploiting it. Yeah. Right? The Oilers never held a lead in that game, I don't think.
No, because they were down, 2-0. I can't remember if they came back to make it 2-2, but either way, they never had a lead in that game. So, which has kind of been their weak spot all season. Like, they play best with a lead. They were like, they I don't remember what it was, but they lost like 3 games all year when they had scored first. Yeah. And they'd won like 30 or 40 some. So
Jonathan Quick in game 1 with a 1.18 goal save above expected. Mike Smith at the other end, a negative 1.39. And we know what goal that was. That
what that the one that was,
should have been, right? So
yeah. I'm surprised Quick was actually that low, because like Quick probably saved like 3 or 4 goals that I thought were sure goals.
Yeah.
Like, he was outstanding.
How old is Smith again? 41, 42?
40.
He's 40?
Combined age of 76 in that series.
Yeah, geez. That's got to be one of the oldest in a long time. I think they were talking about that on the Jeff Merrick show today, I think.
It was, they talked about it on 32 Thoughts.
32 Thoughts?
Monday.
Okay. Yeah, Monday, okay. Then, I was listening to both today, so I get the two confused.
Yeah.
You would think at 40 years old, playing in the NHL as long as he has, Mike Smith would know not to throw the puck up the middle of the ice when you're not standing in front of the net.
Yeah.
Like from the outside, I had to laugh at it, because I'm like, dude, like, and especially the comments that he had after. I don't know if you saw my tweet about it. Let me see if I'll see if I can pull it up here. But he was talking in the press conference after. There was a lot of people who made comments of, at least he didn't blame any of the team for his own mistake this time, which he has been known to do. Where it was just last night. It's somewhere here.
While you find that, the thing is, if anybody else made that play, like pass from behind the net right up the middle, a turnover, anybody else made that play, and then the same thing happens, he gets scored on, he's ripping like 3 new assholes in whatever player did that. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Like, they might as well just fucking ask for a trade, because like they will not want to show up the next day. Like, yeah. So it's weird that Mike Smith did that. Like, I don't know. That was a weird lapse of judgment.
So here, I'll play the clip. It's just a 15-second clip, and then
go for it.
And then I'll read what I tweeted here.
Either. Yeah, just trying to make something happen. Obviously, trying to do too much there in a tight game like that. You can't afford to make mistakes like that, and it ended up costing us the game. And obviously disappointed, but it's one game, and we move on and worry about game 2.
Now, I understand the idea behind what he's saying. I feel like it's a little bit different though, because it's the playoffs, right? like specifically it's one game and we move on. In an 82 game season, yeah, sure, you can make up for that. But what I had tweeted was dude, they only need 4 wins to end your season, and you gave them one on a silver platter. Right?
Yeah. So
the team in front of him now, as well as himself, but the team in front of him has to work even harder now to try to tie the series up, which, by the way, it is 2-0 currently, 13 minutes left in the second period for the Oilers. So they're doing their best right now that they can. But imagine this series goes to 7 games and the Kings win it 4-3. And I feel like you could look back at game 1 and go, if that didn't happen, though, if we continue to outplay them for the last 5 minutes and get a goal to go ahead, we could have still been playing. So,
absolutely.
He didn't blame anybody, but he took a tiny portion of the blame to himself, but brushed it off at the same time. Yeah, which I would have a bit of an issue with personally if I was the coach or a player in that locker room being like, dude, we still have to make up for this now, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think I do agree with what you're saying. Like, he's right. It's one game, but it's 1 out of potentially 4 games.
Yeah.
Or 1 out of 7. Either way, like that's a lot bigger percentage than 1 out of 82. But I think
like
there's a difference between like what you say to the media, especially in a market like Edmonton, where the guys like Mark Spector will take every little thing that you say and run with it for like 3 days with like fucking trash articles.
Yep.
Fuck you, Mark Spector. You're never getting on this show. But and then there's a difference of like what you say to your coach and like behind closed doors to your teammates. So I think, I'm probably a little biased here, but I think Mike Smith's a veteran and he knows what to say to the media and what to say to the dressing room.
Is that what you say to the media though? Knowing that they're going to run with that, knowing that you have public perception coming on you, because if I'm I don't know, if I'm Darnell Nurse in the locker room, right? And Mike Smith tells me, sorry guys, that's 100% on me. I will do better. I will learn from this, right? Like I'm not making those same mistakes. I'm going to be more careful and everything like that. And maybe we need to change something up actually. Maybe I'm just throwing out here.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to play the puck a little bit less or something like that, right? To this kind of extent. But then you go out to the media and you go, as one game, we move on. It's okay. You've said 2 different things here. Which one am I supposed to believe as your teteammate? So that's just my opinion on it. So
yeah, no, I think, I think everybody in the Oilers dressing room understands how the media works in Edmonton specifically, and in the Canadian market as well.
Dog shit. It sucks.
Yeah,
they're brutal for the most part.
So I think the thing that he said where he's like, I take some responsibility for that. Like I probably shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, it's one game. I take some responsibility for that portion was for like his teammates saying like, okay, I have said 2 of the same thing here. And now because I don't want the media to like, shit on us for the next couple days, like it's one game sort of thing. So there's probably some more communication. So
I can see a couple ways. I can see the couple of ways it can be taken. That's just my initial reaction, though. That
no, for sure.
If I'm seeing that as a teammate, I'm going, dude, like you cost us this.
Yeah,
take the full brunt of the blame and don't just brush it off. So that's just my opinion, though. Right? Like you said, there's a lot that we don't know behind closed doors or anything like that. So that's just like when I watch that. Being a goalie myself, playing on different teams and whatnot, having some of those, I don't know, call them more selfish players and that sort of thing who are just like, whatever. Right. Like some of those things I feel like you need to take a little bit more to heart. So especially considering not everyone to his fault, Mike Smith has lost his last 10 playoff games. So that's, and then add a quote like that on top of it of yeah, whatever. We move on. It's like, yeah, okay, but what about the rest of them that you've done with two different teams?
Yeah, I think part of it is like just a difference in like mentality too, and it's just like based off of how you work. Like for someone like you, and correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't really know like how you think when you play, but when you're playing, like you tend to focus on mistakes and like not like beat yourself up over them, but be like, okay, that is in my brain now, and I'm gonna do everything I can to not do that again.
Yeah,
kind of. Am I right there? I don't want to be putting words into your mouth.
You're 100% right. I had a lacrosse game. We were playing even a lower end team. They weren't actually in our division even, and I only had one goal against, but it was such an odd shot that was such a bad angle that it stuck with me that I had my coach work on it with me for a half an hour to the point that he just had to say it was a lucky shot. There's nothing wrong that you did, but it just stuck with me. And I'm like, and obviously it didn't cost us the game or anything like that. I think we were easily double digits, like maybe in the 20s or something like that in that game, but just that one goal stuck in my head. So
yeah. So, but like you kind of used it as like a learning thing, but but where I think Mike Smith is maybe different, and again, I don't know him, so I'm going to be just putting words into his mouth, but I think he's of the mindset of like, I can't focus on those mistakes. I just have to like trust my instincts because I've been doing this for 20 years or whatever. And like, sometimes that happens, but I got to not focus on it, because when I focus on it, my game gets worse, and then I make more mistakes, and then I focus on all those mistakes. So I think it's just like a difference in mentality potentially. And
I get it. So, and and especially as a goalie, it's better to sometimes not dwell on the things you did wrong, right? Just kind of move past it or that sort of thing. I don't know, just from what I've seen with Mike Smith is that it's obvious, like this was like the first or second occurrence of it. Brush it off kind of thing. But through Arizona, like Phoenix at the time, right? Through Calgary, through Edmonton, and before, I guess it wasn't as much. It was really in Phoenix that he really started to take off, right?
Yeah.
But you see this happen a few times throughout a season.
Yeah.
That's where you maybe should be going, I'm actually not going to try that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and this is completely different probably as well if he does the, what you're taught to do typically, of throw it around the boards to somebody else, not send it straight up the middle.
Yeah, the straight up the middle is
that's the issue here. And that's where it's but we move on. It's like, dude, you sent a puck straight up the middle.
Yeah.
Anybody else would be hung for that.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're getting off easy here.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be anymore. So that's just my opinion. I even like as a Flames fan, I was actually excited when Mike Smith was coming to Calgary and whatnot. But just like the more I've seen of him, like through Calgary, through Edmonton, I'm just like, dude, you got to take some like legitimate responsibility for when you screw your team.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. Sorry, when you were talking there, I glanced over at the game because I have the Oilers Kings game on, obviously, and I don't know if you heard it, but definitely on the replay, like I audibly like gasped, and Kulak got lit the fuck up by somebody. Like he got hit, and like all of a sudden he was upside down, like his legs were fucking in the air, like beautiful open ice hit. So, but I just like looked and saw that, and I was like, holy shit. So I'm gonna have to try and find a clip of it after, because it's got to be there. It was a huge hit.
Okay, we are running pretty long, so do we want to talk about Tuesday and put Big D energy in place of What's Quacking? I know that's 2 episodes in a row without What's Quacking, but
sure.
we're going pretty long here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Thank you for sticking with us if you've been watching or listening or that this whole time. So
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it's entertaining.
Yeah. Let's
or do we want to take a break before going into Tuesday?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's actually do that. What ad do we got? I think we're on we did the Sabres one last time.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so we're on this one.
Run the bees.
So, that'll be
the bees, not the bees.
Yeah, well, and when we get to Tuesday, we'll kind of just pick and choose the series I think we want to talk about, because there's 2 like I kind of don't really give a shit about, but there's 2 that I know we'll have some good discussion about. So,
all right,
but yeah, we'll do a quick break first.
Hi, in case you're not from Brazil, where we are now very famous, allow us to introduce ourselves.
We're Cam, all Canada division that is
Canada.
The all Canada.
Chris.
You trade those two
John
guys for a
Scott.
clone machine, and you clone Trent Frederick, and you have a whole fourth line of Trent Fredericks.
And Drew.
Didn't he drop a not like actually take a but the guy said
Our podcast kind of definitely started out as a joke, and we've decided to keep it that way. But that's why we surround ourselves with smart people who really know what they're talking about.
Game and a half that she played, she looked so dominant and just such a good spot on this team.
And he'll take off in terms of being more active in the O zone and being more active in the transition game.
Because there is so much involved with technical development and physical development and injuries that can really impact it. So
tune in.
The Bruins podcast. The Hockey Podcast Network podcast. Presented by Bruins Die Hard.
So let's start with the two series that were at least in my opinion the most exciting and probably also kind of the most shocking. Let's start with the Penguins and Rangers series. The Penguins took 4-3 game one, went to triple overtime.
Was long.
Yeah,
a very long game.
We had 3 goalies in that one, Shesterkin, and then DeSmith for most of it, and then Louis Domingue went in for in the second overtime in place of DeSmith there, which I think it was just like cramping is kind of what I heard.
Yeah, DeSmith was cramping up, which
so not like a
that's
serious
not
injury,
a fun time. That's not a fun time.
No, absolutely not. But I did not think the Penguins were gonna take this one. But I mean, they were throwing everything they had at Shesterkin, which I think was a good strategy, and it obviously paid off for them. Because Shesterkin had 79 saves.
They were legitimately throwing everything. Now, so we know the shots of 83-68 in favor of the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
The Penguins had 141 shot attempts.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I mean, like,
that's ridiculous.
You think about it, they basically played 2 games, but still 70 shot attempts.
Yeah.
In
that's a lot.
60 minutes, that's still a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Igor Shesterkin making 79 saves is now second all time for saves in a playoff game.
Yeah, because the record's 86, right?
Let me double check. But I believe it was that Korpisalo in Columbus.
I believe so.
A couple seasons ago with that
in that 5 overtime.
Was it 5 or was it 7?
No, it wasn't 7. I think it was 5.
Okay. Yeah, let me
I think it was 7th longest game. Or something like that.
Most saves playoff.
Yeah. My guess is 86 if we're taking bets on this.
Where'd it go here? Jonas Korpisalo with 85.
85, okay.
Yep. August 11th, 2020, the Lightning 3, the Blue Jackets 2. So now Kelly Rudy's record that had stood from 87 to 2020 has now dropped to 3rd place, where he made 73 saves as a member of the New York Islanders against the Washington Capitals. So, dang.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's crazy. I think this is going to be another long series. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be the high-powered. We're not giving up because this could be the last chance we get Penguins. And my name is Igor Shesterkin, and I am everybody's daddy. New York Rangers.
There was that NHL like the playoff commercial going around. I don't know if you saw it, and it has Crosby and Malkin together, and they want one more together, followed up by Claude Giroux for Florida saying he just wants one. And I'm like, oh man, that hurts in a few different ways.
Yeah, I've seen a few different ones like that. I've seen like an all Canadian one, and there was one where it's like, I want it back, and then it's like, and it's Bergeron, and then it's 2 Kings players, and it's like they want it back, and then it's the Lightning. It's like they want it back to back to back.
To back.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn, that's actually like a a pretty fire line.
Yeah, it really
like
is.
like if there's an NHL like a specific NHL rapper out there where you rap about things going on in hockey, like you need to use that line in your next track because that's fucking fire. So, do you think we see many more overtime games in the Penguins Rangers series?
I feel like we're going to see 2 more. I don't know about the length of them, but I feel like we're seeing 2 more at least. I still have the Rangers.
Ones,
I still have the Rangers coming out of this series though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. But I think we're in for some very close games.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah.
Flame Stars 1-0. Markstrom gets just adds another shutout to this year.
Yeah.
Although what was it, like 16 save shutout? So like not the biggest one of his season, but obviously shutout's a shutout. So
yeah, 16 saves. Yeah. The Flames held the Stars scoreless, I think, until it was like 11 minutes into the game. Or shotless. Sorry, not scoreless. Shotless.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure they held them scoreless for the whole game, but
but yeah, shotless.
Oh, wow.
I think like the first 11 minutes of the game. Like, the Flames just took over right away. Like within the first 30 seconds, you already had 2 or 3 massive hits from Flames players and that sort of thing. And in the end, it just came down to one shot, a 5-second power play for the Calgary Flames that had Elias Lindholm scoring the eventual game winner in the first period. So it was a tight game. Once the Flames kind of realized, I think, that they weren't going to just, start throwing up goals like nobody's business. It was, okay, we have the 1-goal lead. Let's just take it to them, wear them down, and we'll hold on to this. So
yeah,
I'm really excited for this series.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that because there's always like 1 or 2 teams, and generally they make it all the way to the finals where like it's the quote unquote boring hockey where like you get a lead and then you just hold the lead and just play like the safest, most boring defensive hockey that everyone has ever seen. And I tuned in for the 3rd period of this game, and that's mostly what I saw. And that might have just been the 3rd period. I don't know. So that's why I kind of want to know. But do you think that that's what the Flames are going to do in this series, is just like play that boring style of hockey of like, okay, let's get a goal early and then just kind of hold the lead? So like we're going to see lots of like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 type of games?
No, I don't think so, because I feel like the last half of the 3rd period, things really started to open up. It was back and forth, both ways going. But it's, I don't know, the best description, because the boring hockey from Daryl Sutter that's not the first time I've heard that. It's a consistent thing throughout the season. Yeah. It's always it's boring for the other team is what it is. Yeah. If you're spectating for the other team or that sort of thing. But if you're spectating as somebody following along with the Flames, right? It's you notice certain things in the game that just make it exciting throughout, right? It's Lucic with an offensive chance, considering that he's more of a body guy at this point, right? Yeah. It's the play down low of that top 3 of Lindholm, Kachuk, and Gaudreau, which again, all 3 of those guys had 40 goals this year, right? Which is just nuts to think about as well. Markstrom is, you want to watch a solid, steady goaltender. That's the guy to watch, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah. No, he's locked in. And I've always kind of enjoyed shitting on Markstrom for his time in Calgary, but then I thought, like, in this game, they showed him, because his last playoff appearance was, or not his last, but like his last big one anyways, was in Vancouver.
In the bubble.
In the bubble. Yeah. And I was like, damn, like he was actually really solid in those playoffs. And like the team in front of him wasn't even that good, but they went to the conference finals.
He's the last goalie to knock out a defending cup champ.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that was, what was I going to say? I had a thought there. Oh yeah. So in this game, I was like, okay, like he's locked in and this isn't just going to be a one-off. Like thinking back to that time in Vancouver, that's insane. I also had my doubts about the Flames going into the playoffs just because of their track record. And like they're kind of, in my mind, because I like to focus on the bad things that the Flames do, they're like the Leafs light, where it's like, oh, they're an easy exit for the first round. And if they make it to the second round, then they're an easier exit for the second round. But then when I saw them play that like the Daryl Sutter boring shutdown hockey that, teams tend to maybe lean more towards in the playoffs. I was like, you know what? This team might actually have, like, they might have something.
Mhm.
And that hurts my soul. It makes me want to, like, gouge my eyes out just saying that. But, like, it's from a Flames haters perspective, like, that was a solid game. And if they play that way for, like, the rest of the playoffs, they have a legitimate shot of at least making it to the finals.
Yeah. I mean, Daryl Sutter did it with honestly a lesser team in 2004, and he did do it with two teams in 3 seasons with the LA Kings in 2012 and 2014. So it is proven to work. So
yeah, exactly.
And both teams really were at a disadvantage for 2/3 of the game. Both were running 5 defensemen after the first period because Rasmus Anderson and Klingberg both got into a secondary fight, which is an automatic game misconduct. You're gone. So both those teams were without top pairing defensemen.
Yeah. And they were saying on the broadcast too that Dallas generally only runs 4 defensemen anyways. Like they have 6 on the bench, but like they kind of just run their top 2 pairings. And I think it was Hakanpää, former Duck, shout out there. I think it was him that kind of filled in for that in that the place of
I think so.
Klingberg, because he saw a lot of minutes when I was watching that game, and I thought he was solid, which makes me sad because I love Hakanpää, and I used to love watching him here. So
yeah, Hakanpää exactly 18 minutes in that game.
Okay.
Heiskanen had 3 seconds off of a full half game.
Oh shit.
I'm just trying to see. Ryan Suter, who I actually forgot he was in Dallas until I was watching that game last night. 25-46. Lindell had 22-10 as well in that game. So yeah, Hakanpää was a bit more in that second line at that point still, which I believe he's normally at, but he was definitely a presence out there. 3 blocks, a hit, 2 shots on nets, 2 penalty minutes as well. So, which, I mean, that's another thing too with like the first couple of days is refs are calling even more than the regular season. It feels like.
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling too?
Absolutely. I think they're just trying to set a precedent. That's exactly what it feels
now,
like. It's carried over into tonight as well.
Yeah, and
from what I've seen,
and that's my only thing is it sets the precedent. You have to maintain this now through the end of the finals.
Yeah. I mean, I think realistically, I think it'll taper off a little bit, but it's not going to be each side gets a power play a game. It's you get the obvious ones and maybe a bonus for like, I'm assuming 3-ish, maybe 3 penalties.
Yeah.
So like, just as an example, because I was paying attention more closely to game 1 of Oilers and Kings, there was 5 on each side for that game. And I think for most of the other ones, it was 3 or 4, there maybe 5, but I think they'll let some more things go, but they're still going to, give early power plays to some of the teams and just to kind of shut things down and be like, hey, remember we are calling penalties in this playoff. Let's take it back. And then they'll kind of let them play for a little bit, and then they might give an obvious one or like, give coincidental minors or whatever. But
yeah,
so it's still game management, but it's similar to what we've seen in the regular season.
Yeah, there was definitely a few calls for either, like for both sides, Calgary and Dallas, which me, I am able to separate myself from who's playing and that kind of thing and look at the game objectively. There were a lot of you really called that calls for both sides. But then there was a lot of things that should have been called that were let go on both sides. It's like, okay, I get it. We're trying to call more things. That's great. But like call the stuff that actually matters, not the hold that's not really a hold or that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
But like call the trip that is a blatant trip.
Yeah.
That you're letting go. So.
Yeah. I think you guys just got the shitty refs for that game. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I won't comment too far into that. I just
the
big thing for me is if you're going to set this precedent for the first few nights, you got to be consistent with that through the rest of the playoffs, right? If it becomes the rule book gets thrown out the window, then you essentially have 3 different seasons, right, of officiating, which
and then nobody
how is
knows.
exactly. How is anybody supposed to know what they can and can't do, what they can and can't get away with?
Yeah, exactly. So. The other 2 series that started on Tuesday, I don't have anything to say about this one. The Avalanche and the Predators, 7-2 final, 5-0 after the first period, as you put in here.
Yeah.
That's what I expected. So
yeah, from what I could see, remember UC Saros is currently out right now for the Predators, and will miss at least the first round with a high ankle sprain. And so it could potentially be the entire season, right? If the Avalanche have their way with this series. So you have David Riddick in net, which I was watching the replays after on the goals, and it was definitely a mix of, well, the team in front of him could have helped him out in that case. And there was 1 or 2 that was like, it's a bit more on Riddick. But I was laughing though at one point, it was 4-0. Forget who it was for the Avalanche was about to get a breakaway, and you just see David Riddick streak out from the left side of your screen and take away the puck, and he's like out of the blue line, and there's an Avalanche player behind him, and it's just like, what? I sent it in a group chat, and I'm like, Big Save Dave really said, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 5th goal against, and Connor Ingram, I believe. Goes in and plays a solid enough game, and
only 2 goals against.
Yeah, only 2 goals against. So
yeah. The other one, Capitals Panthers 4-2. From what I saw, it was like a fairly back and forth game. Capitals just had a little more skip in their step for the first one, maybe, but again, I expect this one to go for quite a few games, because the Capitals are like the Penguins, where they're not going to go away, and the Panthers are like, no, go away.
Yeah. I saw one tweet that was, how do you, the first team to clinch a playoff spot, the President Trophy winners, lose game 1 to the Washington retirement home? You can chuckle about that one. But I mean, it would have been nice for myself for the Panthers to win. That's the only game out of the 3-game parlay that I set that I lost.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really see a whole lot out of that game, so I can't really comment too much on it. But yeah, that Avs Predators one, it was just the Avalanche having their way. So game 2 is tomorrow night for that one. It'll be interesting to see how the Predators respond. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I guess that's all the series that we covered there. Quick update on what's going on tonight. 4-2 Wild over the Blues, about halfway through the third-ish. I'm rounding. The other 2 games we talked about were finals. The second period just ended for the Oilers and Kings. Oilers up 3-0 on the Kings in that one now.
And one more update as well. The Ontario Reign and San Diego Gulls are just starting the third period. We're literally 30 seconds in. It's 4-2 Ontario.
Okay. Still a close game. Still anyone's game. Yeah. Okay. The clip I have selected for this week's Big Dick energy move here is actually more of a Big Nick energy move.
Hey.
That probably doesn't make sense because nobody knows what clip I'm talking about. I mean, I know Nate does, but it's actually a really bad pun. But we're throwing it back to the good old days, back when we had Nick Delorier on our team. And boy, I hope we bring this guy back, like Derek Grant style. Like, ship him off for a playoff run, bring him back. Ship him off for a playoff run, and bring him back.
And this was from last night's game, correct?
Yes, it was.
From St. Louis, Minnesota. Okay.
Yeah, or I guess 2 nights ago.
Or I guess.
Yeah, from 2 nights ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 nights ago.
Yeah. So this was posted on Reddit by, you know what? I actually don't know who the user is, and it's full screen already. So I'll plug it after. Yeah, this is Derek Grant in all of his glory here. And that's all I'll say for now.
Some rough stuff. We got a fight. Delorier going right after a Blues player. Barbashev ends up on top of him, and all heck's broken loose.
That's the linesman talking.
Nick, no. Nick, no.
I know. Please. No, Nicky. Hey, I got 4 games.
fucking 4 games. No, retreat. Hey, Nicky, come on, take it easy, man. I'm right here. I'm right in between.
Oh boy.
My favorite
I've got
part
4
is,
games to fucking kill you.
My favorite part though is he says 4 games, right? Meaning that, yeah, like I think at that point, like the Blues looked like they were going to be taking that game, right?
Yeah.
I got 4 games, meaning we aren't done. That is confidence. I love it.
Yeah.
But also, I got 4 games to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not watching the video version of this, you're really missing out just for the crazy eyes that Delorier has in this clip.
He is ready to murder somebody.
He's not joking. It's not just like it's not like he's just saying those words. He means those words.
Oh yeah.
Like absolutely. I'm gonna see if I can get a screen. Oh, there we go. That is perfect. Look at this. I'm gonna bring it back up.
He is so ready. He is
Look
so
at
ready.
how unhinged he is. Holy
if the
shit.
linesman isn't restraining him, he would have someone's head. And that brings me back to just like I remember seeing somebody say like after the trade deadline. Now imagine being Kirill Kaprizov. You can go out and do your thing and just know that if anybody touches you, Nick Delorier is ready to kill them. He is teetering, waiting to kill somebody.
Exactly. And like the tone in the ref's voice, or the linesman, I guess in this case, his voice, it's like somebody in the comments, I don't care enough to go back and find out who it was, but they compared it to like when you're out with your buddies and you like at the bar or whatever, and there's always that one guy that's like just looking to get into a fight, and you have to hold him back. It's like no, like calm down, like look at me. Just like,
I've been that guy before.
We're good. Yeah, but like
not that I'm the one with crazy eyes. I'm the one who's holding somebody back, being like, dude, no.
Yeah, exactly. Like the linesman is like, he knows like Nick Delorier is gonna beat the piss out of somebody if he's not there, and he's like got to calm him down. He's got to be like, Nick, like look me in the eyes and just like calm down. Like he's almost at the point where like the linesman's like, I do I kiss this guy just to like make him think about something else? Like what do I do?
What do I do here? Like that looks like that I'm so stuck on that quote specifically. Like not even the rest of what's going on. That quote specifically. I'm like, I didn't realize we were filming Goon 3 during the 2022 NHL playoffs.
Yeah, right.
Like, that feels like something that would come out of like that movie series.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And Doug Glatt would come back with something like, I'll make you a pastry or something like that. Will that make you feel better? Like,
yeah. And just enrage them even more, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got 4 games to kill you. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah. This was posted, by the way, user Kook for a day on Reddit. So on the Anaheim Ducks subreddit as well. So if you're on there, you've probably seen it. But
man, I want Nick Delorier back. Just as that presence, right? Because that does help, right? Like, yes, the age of the enforcer has kind of gone by the wayside, but you still need that tough guy that can contribute in sometimes in points, right? But just even that morale guy in the room and that sort of thing. Like there are intangibles that are beneficial. So
yeah, exactly. The comment that I referenced actually came from the same guy. He was responding to someone else's comment, but he says, he quoted the comment before that said that linesman sounded scared for his life. And then Kook for a day said, well, yeah, D'Lo is fucking large and nuts. Kind of reminds me of if you had, quote, crazy friends in high school who like to fight and never had to break one up to help your friend avoid getting in trouble. Fun times.
Yeah. Yeah. I had friends like that as well that, you're at the bar with them. They're ready to fight somebody and you're like, dude, no, we're not doing this tonight. I'm not dealing with the cops tonight. We're not doing this.
Yeah. So yeah, that is maybe a different kind of, big Nick energy move than we're used to, but that's, I mean, I've got 4 games to fucking kill you. That right there. A big energy move.
It's a what now?
A big energy move.
One more time.
A big energy move.
Actually, sorry, one more time because he's got 4.
A big energy move.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think that wraps up this episode of the Quack Report.
Yeah, we are at 2 hours.
Yeah, damn. I think that's the longest. I don't think we've ever hit 2 hours. Have we?
I think we have once before. I know we've gotten close, but
Yeah.
of course there's nothing going on in terms of Ducks like whatsoever, but we still find stuff to talk about. So
yeah, I think it's like we don't have like it's the break from the regular structure, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, well, we don't have the games to talk about and, we don't have like, okay, we got to hit this by this time. It's just kind of, okay, go.
Yeah, let's just go for it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it'll be good. I'm excited for these playoffs just all around. So what are, okay, let me ask you one more question here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take myself out of the Flames and Stars, and you're going to take yourself out of the Oilers and Kings.
Okay.
One series from the West and the East that you're trying to pay attention to.
In the West, I think the next most enticing one to me is the Wild and the Blues, because, I mean, look at what we just saw from Nick Delorier. Like, those teams hate each other already, and they've been battling all season. But so yeah, I think that's one. I've also been following the Flames and the Stars mostly because I want the Flames to be miserable, but also I'm like kind of scoping out the potential second round Battle of Alberta matchup there a little bit. So, but I'm gonna go with Wild and Blues for my Western Conference. For the East, I think Rangers and Penguins is a good one, but I'm actually the most excited for Hurricanes and Bruins because the little bits I've seen, those teams they've got some fire already. I think the Bruins are getting aggravated with getting shit stomped by the Hurricanes a lot. So they're playing that chippy game more so than they already do. And I think it's starting to get under the Canes' skin, and they're kind of retaliating. So it's that already looks like a conference final matchup, and it's game 2 of round 1.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's my Eastern Conference pick. Also, I have the Canes. I have money on them to win the cup. So there's a little bit of that bias there, I guess. So yeah, what about you?
I was thinking the Wild and Blues as well, but because you took it, I will change my answer because I'm still looking at this anyway. I'm looking at the Avalanche and Preds just because the Preds are kind of down right now, right? Like they're at this point, they're on their 3rd goalie. I'm more watching it just to see how quick the Avalanche can go through the Predators.
Yeah.
I just want to see like how fast they can dispatch them.
Yeah. Like, can they score enough goals in 3 games to make the Preds just forfeit the 4th one?
Exactly. And in the East, I'm watching that Lightning and Maple Leafs one because you have that team that has such lofty expectations against the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah. Both of those are hungry teams.
I think could do it again still. I think they could three-peat. It's possible. So
yeah, for sure. Canes actually are down to their 3rd goalie as well. Ranta left the game with an injury today.
Oof.
They
and you saw that one
or
coming.
something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And what happened the last time the Hurricanes went with a rookie goaltender in the playoffs? 2006, they win a cup.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same matchup. I'm not trying to make it dig, but I'm just like, history has a way of repeating itself sometimes.
Yeah.
So you never know, right? Like I'm sure Hurricanes fans are realizing that and going, wait a second.
Yeah. I don't know. Like there could be some very scary parallels. Like Mike Smith is the goalie that, drug this team from the bottom into a playoff spot, like in the second half of the year, potentially could go down with an injury in the conference finals, rookie goaltender in Carolina, 7-game series. I mean, that was 16 years ago. So yeah, I don't know. Like there's some more parallels you could draw if that was a potential matchup. And I don't like the possible outcome. So, but yeah. Okay. Well, Nate, where, I don't know. What did we talk about this episode? I don't know.
Where can you send me your games that you're watching?
Sure.
Like what matchups you're watching. You can send those to me on Twitter. It's time to wrap this up. You can send those to me at Twitter. Jeez, I'm still fucking it up. Shoot me on Twitter at Tatenhomas, TATENHOMAS.
Man, this is why we can't do 2-hour episodes because like by the end of it, we just can't speak.
No, and I was already struggling to like wake up this morning to start with. So like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I was the same way on Monday. Like 3 hours, basically nonstop, except when you were in, of like me having to say words. And it's so I'm on like hour 5 of podcasting. Well, no, because we recorded on Sunday too. This is like hour 7, because that was almost a 2-hour episode. This is hour 7 of podcasting this week. So
yeah, because you went over 2 hours on that, or over 3 hours, sorry, on that stream, and
just over,
2/3 of it you did on your own. So, which by the way, you did a great stream that day. So.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I definitely want to get another one in there. Hopefully the series is still going on next week, but I will. You can follow myself at Carter_Potts, POTTS_97, to find out when I will be doing another watch along. I mean, even if the Oilers and Kings series is done, I'd still like to get another one in. So if that series is over, you can also DM me what series you'd maybe like me to cover. That would be fun. Or us. Maybe we could do one together next week. But yeah. Again, at Carter_Potts, POTTS_97 there, at Tate Namas for the other guy, and at Quack Report Pod on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, where you can follow us. Be sure to subscribe and like videos there on YouTube, and that's about it, I think. All right, we'll see you next time.